Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jerry Opoka. If you're new to this channel, you are most welcome. And if you are a repeat visitor, thank you for coming back. If you have not subscribed, please click the subscribe button and the notification button. And if you like the content that I'm going to share, click the like button and make a comment, share your thoughts so that we can open a dialogue. Today, what is on my mind is stories. Again, I'm sitting outside and I hope you can hear the beautiful sounds of life happening around me. And stories. You may be wondering what kind of stories. Every story, all stories. We are all a pack of stories. If in fact a book was written about every single day of our lives, gosh, we'd have so many stories to tell. So wherever we are in our lives, we are a bunch of stories, and that's why I always say behind every story, now me, is a story. And behind that story is a story. Why is this a thing? Why are we even here talking about it or listening? Why are you listening to me talking about stories? It's because I often find that we judge people and situations based on the current story, okay? And many times we are harsh based on the current story, because the current story will actually look harsh, look like it deserves, all the toughness that we want to dish out to it. But two things. Sometimes we know that there's a deeper story to the story that we see. And yet, that is not enough for us to say, because there is a reason why this person is the way they are, maybe we should not judge them too harshly. Secondly, sometimes we don't know. All we see is what we see in a moment. Is that enough for us to dish harsh judgment? And this calls on us as people to just stop for a moment sometimes and think, what is causing this person to be like that? It could be a person who's overly happy and all flighty and like a butterfly always. They always seem to be in a good mood. How come? There's a story to that. Even a person who's moody, who's always angry, has a story. Nobody in their right mind, in their right human mind, wakes up in the morning and says, today I'm going to be mean. I'm just going to be nasty because I just want to be nasty. No, there is a reason. And we've often heard people say, hurt people hurt. Basically, a person who's in pain sometimes will project that pain onto somebody else. It's a way of coping, wrong as it may be. It's their way of coping sometimes, and they cannot help but, pass it forward to the next person and feel like they have chipped, a bit of their pain off by giving it to somebody else. And even for us, again, I have some notes in case you see me switching off to the side. Even for us who are receiving these stories or these situations, who are on the outside looking in, we are perceiving those stories based on our story, okay? So you will find somebody behaving a certain way and three different people watching this individual will translate what the individual is doing in three different ways. Why? Because of their own stories. Maybe one of them has experienced what this person is going through and knows that there must be a pain behind that. Maybe someone else is saying, oh, we just need to be kind because I know I received kindness from somebody else and, it made me feel a certain way, so maybe I should be kind to this person. Another person could be dealing with a different story that makes them so angry at the person who's perpetrating whatever. And so these three perceptions are because of three different stories. The fourth one then is the person who we are perceiving. And I will give some examples of situations where we perceive. For ladies, especially, who have to work with help at home, like a house help, many times we know that this person, and sometimes we actually want a person who is not so tainted by behavior or mannerisms from another place. So we want somebody who's fresh from home, fresh from the village. And when they come in, we know we have to train them. But sometimes, even when, as they come into our homes, we already are like, oh, I'm going to go through a week of training and it's going to be hard. They will not get me. They will not understand. So in comes this person, does work for a few days, weeks. You've trained them. You've really tried. But there's some detail that you just cannot get them to understand. First of all, you're packing so much information. Sorry, I hope my earrings are not messing with the sound. So you're packing so much information for them or to them in a short space of time. And you're also teaching them how you like to do your things. They're seeing certain things for the first time, maybe because of where they're coming from. They've not seen a carpet before. So you've helped them understand how they have to clean a carpet. And maybe, inside the microwave. And then the microwave kind of looks like the cooker, but is not quite like it. Maybe the microwave looks like a television screen they have in the village. So they have to take all this information in and make sure they can do the right thing. 2 weeks later, they clean your flat screen curved television with the ordinary mop that's damp. And you're not happy because your flat screen television has a special cloth that has microfibers, and you cannot explain your microfibers to her. It's just a cloth. Because of their story, they cannot understand yours. So they perceive your information differently from the way you perceive their information. The one that I love so much is our non-stick pans. Sometimes they'll find the pan is a bit scraped, like a bit of the black non-stick material has gone off, and they'll be like, oh my word, this pot is not scrubbed properly. These guys don't know how to scrub pots. You come back home and your pot has been scrubbed until it's shiny, like all the non-stick has gone off. Of course, you're thinking about the money that you spent and so on. But she's like, I was only scrubbing. So if you think about their story in relation to what has happened and how you are perceiving it, you know differently. You know that you spent a good deal of money to buy that pan. But in the bigger scheme of things, you could not break down every single thing. Same as the outfits we have that are wrinkled, like they're creased and they're supposed to be non-iron, like wash and wear. You come back home and this person has ironed all the creases out and you want to scream. I feel bad, but I always tell myself, she did not know. She did not know, period. That is, the money that I spent on that is school fees. Anyway, I'll quickly run through the others. The other one that makes me sad is people who are suffering with mental health issues. If it's not diagnosed, we will normally say, oh, that person has issues, or that person is always angry and da-da-da. But if it has been diagnosed, let's take an example of bipolar. Someone either has a manic episode or a depressive episode. When they're manic, they're hyper, they're all over the place, they want to party maybe, they're so restless. When they're in their depressive phase, they are sad, they are, but also sometimes when they're in the manic phase, they will get angry and, lash out at people. So someone will often say, ignore him or her. The person is bipolar. And the minute you put the label there, it's like, oh, okay, we understand the what they're going through. Ignore, totally write them off, which is sad. If they're going through a depressive phase, someone will say, oh, last week, it was doing whatever. This week, this is how they are. And everyone will say, oh, it's the bipolar. But they're going through a depressive phase and they need people. They need somebody to be kind to them. They need people to understand, not just write them off. So same as a narcissist. And a narcissist is that person who has been painted as horrible, horrible, horrible. I've seen a lot of things on social media. I receive a lot of emails from different organizations or whatever that talk about narcissists. Can you really change a narcissist? Can you escape a narcissist? What do you do? Can you change a narcissist? You can't. So just leave them, let them be. And I always say that I've had a friend who's a narcissist, and in as much as the person drove me up the wall, I have never stopped feeling for the person, because I just always said they have some real pain. They have some real issues that they don't know how to deal with any other way. So it's important that we understand that behind the story is a story. And even this narcissist, when you look at their story, they didn't just wake up one morning and become a narcissist. They probably have had a very painful childhood. This is how they deal sometimes. This is how they protect themselves. A person who is afraid of being loved because they have been hurt before will hurt you. Okay? When you love them, they will hurt you. A person who is afraid of being abandoned, who thinks that people always abandon them, will abandon you first. If you get too close and you think everything is going well, they will abandon you. And to abandon is not just to say, oh, I'm tired, let me just, send you a text and say, hey, I think, I need some time alone. No, they will abandon you the way they imagine you will abandon them. So to protect themselves, they have to push you away as quickly as possible, as hard as possible, so that you don't come back, okay? So that they know that they've dealt with it. And many times after they've done the pushing, they will go back and realize what they've done, but they don't know how to fix it. Until they seek help, they don't know how to fix it. So, there are people who do things because they feel like they're avenging a loved one. So and so hurt my person and hurt them so much, so I need to hurt them back. There is a story behind that, behind why that is the course of action that they have chosen. So, what do we do then? One, recognize at all times that people are doing things based on where they have been. That should soften your response to them as a first step. Number two, when they're out of that phase, can you just try and understand from them what they're dealing with, even if they do not want to tell you, because people also cannot trust you with their secrets or with their pain points because you've asked. Maybe they've been hurt before by people they've tried to speak to. Oftentimes they have tried to seek help from a friend, a relative, a loved one, and maybe they've not gotten what they thought they would get, and because of that they will keep people at arm's length many times. So when we start to look at people, when we start to look at other human beings as having stories, then our hearts start to soften. And that softening of the heart allows love to come through. Then you start to approach situations and circumstances with love. Not love for the individual, not love for Jerry, like I love Jerry, but I just love mankind, because we are all the same. We all have a story. And if I know that we all have a story and I'm perceiving based on my story, then we can all be kinder to each other and there can be more love to go around. So that's my message today, to ask us to just tone down a bit, allow kindness to work our hearts into a place of love. Thank you so much for indulging me again. See you on the next video.